Do you want a more superior way to create audiences in Google Ads? Well, you need to create audiences. Now, this used to be called audiences back in the day. Then they changed it to custom segments. Now there's custom segments, but you also have audiences. It's very confusing, but we're going to go through and take a look at it. And I'm going to show you some unique tips that you can use when you're creating audiences to start targeting ads, whether that's YouTube audiences, display audiences, demand gen. You can overlay your search ads. You can do remarketing lists for search ads. And so let's look at the best way to create audiences for your Google Ads campaigns. All right, so here I am in the audience manager, and you're gonna go to audiences. So this is where you're going to create your combined audiences, and you can overlay your data on top of this, and you can also add a bunch of exclusions in terms of demographics and audiences as well. So if you are creating an audience to use in Google Ads, use this audience feature because you can really custom tailor your audience. And here's the best thing. You can use your data to overlay your audiences with a customer list. And so what that's going to do is you're going to say, okay, Google, I want to test this audience. You know, they're in market for what I do. And then you're going to give them your customer list on top of that. And Google's going to say, okay, we're going to match people who are in the market for XYZ and also match the profiles of these customers. And so it's just a really good way to jumpstart your performance. And obviously, if you're using audiences in Google Ads, you want to test lots of different types of audiences. But this helps to give you a head start, especially if this is your first time advertising and you don't have a lot of data on who's converting already. So how it will work is you go ahead and you put your audience name. So I recommend being a lot more descriptive here. I'll typically use what my custom segment is, and I'll put that as my audience name. You can even number them. So if you're going to be testing lots of different audiences, you can number them. It just makes things a bit easier for you. So then you're going to go ahead and select your custom segment, whatever that might be. So then you can create a custom intent audience based on people's, what they're in the market for. And you can use prompts that Google provides you to create a bunch of these types of custom segments, and you can insert that here. Down here is where your interests and demographics are. So you've got live events, you've got in-market audiences, all the good things, detailed demographics, affinity audiences. And so let's say we're going to do an in-market audience for, let's do vehicles, just to be fun. So motor vehicles, you can even drill down in here and you can be a bit more specific. New, used, a certain type of brand. Maybe you're an Acura dealer or something like that. And so I recommend just doing one. So you can either do this main category or a specific one. And you can test different ones because, maybe the broad list will do well, maybe it won't. Maybe the narrow list will be too narrow. And so then you have that there, and then you can overlay it with your customer list. And so when you browse, you'll have this setting right here for customer lists. And then you can select what that audience is that you have uploaded. So a customer match list is a list that you have of your best customers. You need to reach ideally 1,000 matches for Google. You're going to upload your database of customers. It's going to be information such as their email address, phone number, first name, last name, and zip codes. And Google can then scan through their huge, incredible database and say, oh, I know who this person is. Oh, I know who that person is, based on the phone numbers and the email addresses that you have. And so hopefully you can match at least 1,000 of those. It will still run if you're a little bit under that, but aim for 1,000. Here, see, we have 3,500. And then Google's going to say, okay, we want people who are in the market for an Acura who match these profiles, which ideally will be of your best, most profitable customers. So if you only have 500 customers, then you can absolutely fill that gap of that remaining 500 with your email subscribers, just so that you can have something in here that resembles people who want to do or who like you and do business with you. So you can customize it that way. You just have to have user permission based audiences. So someone had to have given you their email address willingly, not something that you've scraped or purchased. So as long as it's a first party owned permission based list, you can use that and put that in here. And then you have a great custom audience. At the bottom, here's where you can add exclusions. So you can exclude anybody who's been your customer before, so you don't want to retarget those people. You can exclude remarketing lists, people that you don't want to see your ad. So here's where those exclusions will go now. And then you can also drill in on demographics. Now, I highly advise that you use this feature because, maybe 18 to 24-year-olds are not your demographic. So why spend money on them? Even if they only click just a few, just a very small percentage of your clicks come from this demographic, don't spend money there. Think, oh, maybe they're helping their grandmother. Most cases, it's not going to work. So you want to target your highest quality leads and not go beyond that. So dial in your ages, dial in your household incomes. And if it's very specific, say you have a very expensive product, I also take off the unknown. So Google, if they know what your average household income is based on a lot of factors, so they might even match you to people that they know have a high household income or wherever you lie. And if you match with those people, then they can guess what your average household income is. If they have no idea, then you're going to be unknown. And so that's how you can exclude. Let's say, the majority of people are in the lower 50%. So if you want to make sure that you're not targeting people in the lower 50% because your product is just very expensive, it's not the right audience for you, then I also recommend taking off the unknown audience so that you don't serve to that higher percentage of lower than 50% of household income audiences that are going to be grouped in here. So will you lose some top 10% income earners? Yes, but this is the best way to conserve and save money, and proportionally it's going to make sense. Also, I tend to notice that these top 10% of household income folks are actually pretty expensive to target. So they're not always like the bread and butter that are going to be your best audiences in some cases, but absolutely test it. Google's going to show you the data on it after this starts running, so let it go, and you can always adjust it later. So after you have all these settings in place, then you just hit save and you have a new audience that is based off of not only your customer data, but your specific either custom segment or your audience is based on interests, life events, detailed demographics, or affinities. And then you can go out and test and see what's going to work the best for you. And again, I recommend being very simplified in my audiences. Just select one custom segment, one interest or demographics based audience or in-market audience or anything that you choose here. And then if you want to get a bump and a head start, definitely put your customer list in here as well and test it without it. If it's doing well, take out the customer list and see how Google does. It's a great test to run. And there you have it. So once you have your list saved, that's everything that you need. You can then add your audience to your ad group that you're going to run. And you have all of those remarketing list exclusions and demographics exclusions all combined therein. So that is the best way to start creating audiences for your Google Ads campaigns, whether it be any type, video, display, search, or demand gen. And that's going to help you to include all of your demographics exclusions that you need, as well as your remarketing list exclusions as well. Try the customer match list. It's definitely going to give you a bump if you have the luxury of having that much data. And let me know how things are going for you. I can help you out. If you have any questions, just post them below in the comments and I'd be happy to answer your questions. And I will see you on the next video.